on the drive. And then they buy the house they're in, then they buy another. You pool the incomes. If you all split and separate and just spread out, you're just paying all different rents, all different electricity bills, and you just go broke. You have to think of the last name and the generation and the clan as a whole. So yeah, I love the idea of living with my brother. I'll never live without him. And yeah, his woman can move in, of course. His kids can be around me, of course. I'm uncle. Why not? I have no problem with that.
That's a dream. Let's transition to a couple other topics. So, I saw a video by the president of Microsoft, Brandon. I think it was the president of Microsoft who said, you're going to see one of the biggest threats in the future being deep fakes. Okay. And then you saw a similar thing being said by Google, Sergey Brin. You're going to see what's going to happen with deep fakes. And then the example of deep fakes was given by the actress from Wonder Woman. What's her name? Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot, right? There was a deep fake porn made of her. Then there was a deep fake video made of Trump. Then there's deep fake of Joe Rogan. There's one of Morgan Freeman. Hi, I am not Morgan Freeman. Kind of goes like this.
Wow.
So the direction we're going with deep fake, right? When it comes down to AI, where do you see the threat? Is that something you think about? Is that something you see as an opportunity, as a threat? And if yes, which part of it?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Deep fakes are certainly going to change the world because what we're going to have is we're going to have a post-truth society, and then the only way they're going to be able to tell you what's true or not is some committee which decides what's true and what's a deep fake, and then they're going to be in charge of the world, and then they're going to lie to you, and then you're really in trouble. So that's going to be very interesting. Once you get to the point where, what did I say earlier about not being able to trust your own eyes? They're going to take that away from us soon. Then what? Then you're really in trouble. In regards to AI, I think it has to be adopted. Inside of my school, Hustlers University, we teach AI with absolutely everything. A lot of the images we generate, even on my Twitter account, is all AI. And what's actually scary about the modern world is, I don't consider myself old, I'm 36. But some of the children, I call them children, 17, 18-year-olds inside of my school, Hustlers University, they're AI wizards, and they can do magic with this stuff. Magic. Like they can literally, genuinely, Andrew Tate on the moon, and the image is generated in seconds. Like artists are going out of business. I thought AI would put truck drivers out of business. Artists are going out of business. Musicians are going out of business. It's kind of scary. I do like to think that with things like AI, there's always going to be some degree of natural separation between the men who are genuinely inventive and killers and the men who are more, let me change the way I say that. I think if you're an exceptional person, a truly exceptional person, you don't have to be afraid of nearly anything. But you'll probably agree with this. In my experience, in nearly every business in the world, you have 10% killers, and then you have a bunch who want the paycheck. They do their job, but I wouldn't say they're killers. You understand? Mm-hmm. And we live in a society for a long time where I can even tell you now, sometimes when I hire, I'll say to my cousin or to my COO, I'll say, look, either get one killer or 3 normal people. Because that's the reality, that's the basic, you either need 3 people to half do the job or you need 1 killer to do the job. And I think that those 3 people who half do their jobs, enough to not get fired, they turn up most of it on time, but they're not really that motivated, those are the ones who have to fear AI. I think businesses in the medium term are going to become killers and AI. I tell them now, I have some guys who work for me on one particular company and their sales staff. I was reading through the sales scripts. The killers doing really well. But the average guys have said, you're not doing much better than ChatGPT could do right now. I want to warn you that you're not doing much better than I could replace you with a machine today, let alone in 5 years from now, for free. You need to be careful. So I think it's just becoming more and more competitive. The idea that you can just be Joe Schmo, do your job, turn up, I don't try that hard, it's fine. I think that's all going to go out the window because as the world becomes more competitive, as a company, you have to compete with your competitors. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is just where do you cut the fat? Where do you cut the slack? When I see AI popping up and getting more and more intelligent in the way it's talking, that doesn't scare me. But I have a way with words. If I was Joe Schmo, I'd be afraid. This chat GPT can probably text your girl better than you can. He'll probably get laid faster than you will.
That's a little advice for the guys out there right now. Just
plug it into your phone. It'll do better than you do. So that's scary, you know?
That's hilarious.
I think that's what the average man really needs to struggle. And I've been saying this has been my message for a very long time in all realms. I've said for a very long time that life for the average man is going to get harder and harder. It's becoming more and more competitive. You need to find more and more ways to stand out and be unique. And the only way to really do those things, unfortunately, as a man, is to suffer. And that's one of the reasons I'm kind of glad that God put me in jail. Because if you look at anything that builds a man into a man, there's a degree of suffering. It's very hard to become a man and have a man who's respected and has stories and is capable when he only had a nice life and nice experiences. It's usually the things that made you the best version of you are usually the worst things that happened to you. So the demons I carry from jail, the fact that I can't sleep, the fact that I can't sleep, I've had girls say to me, you can't sleep, you need to see a psychiatrist. And I said, absolutely not. I would be furious if a psychiatrist walked in here and took my demons from me. I don't care if they could fix me with a click, they're mine. And they were bestowed to me by God. And they are mine to deal with, and they are mine to fix, because that's how I become a better version of me. I would be furious if someone took them away from me. I'm glad I can't sleep. Good, I can train endlessly. That's why I'm bigger than I've ever been. I'll train I'm not gonna waste a minute. But all the demons that have been given to me by God and all the problems that have been given to me by God are mine to fix. I would never, ever allow anybody else to take them from me. I'd be furious. If a psychologist came in and said I could cure you, I'd say, no, thank you. I will cure myself. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I'll cure myself. That's my job. And I know that when that's done, I will be more mentally resilient than I ever would have been without jail. That's the whole point of it, right? So many men say, I want to be the man, but they don't want to suffer, they don't want to fight, and I don't understand why, because even if you look at a superhero movie, they tell you, even in superhero movies, they make it very clear, Batman's parents died, that's why he's Batman. All the bad things have to happen. There's no way to get there without the bad things. I get so many emails from people complaining about their bad things, and I don't have time to reply to any of them, but if I could, I'd say, good luck, congratulations, off you go. Of course she broke your heart. Of course you're sad. Of course you miss her. She's with me now. That's life. That's part of it. That's the only way you're going to get to that level of resilience. You can't become the man any other way. So yeah, I thank God for everything bad that's ever happened to me and all the demons. And I trust that he's not going to give me anything I cannot, in the end, decipher and deal with. In the end, I think it's a puzzle. And you decipher it and you work out the best way to deal with it. And you internalize the good parts. And you become a better and stronger and more resilient person for it. So I have to thank God for every single one of them.
Well, I mean, you got to go through shit to be the shit. That's basically what it is. And by the way, what you're saying is not a hypothetical. You talk about being the average man. You see this play out on dating apps these days. Have you seen what's happened, especially on Instagram and on all the dating apps, Hinge, Bumble, and out there? The top guys out there are getting 90% of the women, whereas the bottom guys, I think the stats are a third of men under 30 have not been laid in a year.
If being average is not acceptable anymore.
At all.
It's not acceptable anymore. And it's not acceptable in the sexual marketplace, but it's also just not acceptable, I don't think, even in life anymore.
Period.
You have to diversify now so much to even protect yourself. The idea that you can just be a law-abiding citizen in a country and just work your job and be okay is gone. It's gone. If COVID doesn't prove that, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
Look at my situation. You have to diversify. You have to be smart enough that you have assets and friends and capability and lawyers and whatever all over the world now. That's the only way to protect yourself. You can't just sit within one jurisdiction and go, oh, well, but I don't speed, so it's going to be okay. I don't think it is. I think it's coming to a point where it's not going to be okay. And AI is going to make it harder and harder, again, for those average men. It's going to be harder and harder. I don't think the exceptional men are ever going to suffer from AI. I think we're going to use AI.
Do you think this whole Neuralink that Elon Musk just got the approval for the patent? So now the sale is going to be, look, no matter what you do, John, you will never be like Andrew Tate. Yeah. But if you take this Neuralink GT500/Tate, you're able to get upgraded to his levels and think like him and outthink and do this and do that for only $49,000. If we put this chip in your head and we'll offer this to you.
My mother always says to me, I'm glad I'm not young. And I'm starting to say that now. I'm glad I'm not young. Because I'm telling you, it's going to be scary, right? Because the world is hyper-competitive. Every single thing in the world is competition. I don't think people realize I'm a hyper-competitive person because I understand that every single thing I want, somebody else wants. The girl I want, other people want. The car I want, other people want. The house I want, other people want. The lifestyle, the jet, every single thing you want, somebody else wants. It's a massive competition. As a man, you have two choices. You either accept that as a massive competition and try and play the game, or you just try and pretend it's not a competition and live in perpetual failure. And it's going to become hyper-competitive, the world already is. You're not going to be able to compete with a person with a computer brain. So you're going to have to have it because you can't compete. Then once you have it, then who knows? Can they turn it off? I don't know. Can they turn you off? I don't know. Can they inject the slave mind programming directly through the chip? I don't know. That's scary. I would never want to do that, but it's going to get to a point where you're not even a person without it. You can't function without it. You're a second-class citizen without it.
Competition then, though? What happens to competition then? Is it going to be whoever has access to the best technology, whoever has the most recent upgraded version of XYZ Neuralink chip?
Absolutely. It's going to become scary. I'm glad I'm not young. I hope it doesn't happen while I'm alive. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting world.
Does it inspire you to want to have more kids, or you're like, that's indifferent? I'm going to have the kids. I'm not worried about that.
I think, yeah. I think in the 1700s they're probably saying the same thing. The future's over, and the future ain't that bad. So there'll be a way it will work out. I just have to instill within them the same values I have, and they'll find a way to work it out, and hopefully they'll be okay.
PBD, you always say the future looks bright. I mean, you must be concerned. You've got 4 kids.
I would have 20 more right now if I could. If I would have 20 more kids, right? I don't know how you feel about it. I'd have 20 more kids right now if I could.
Absolutely love children. There's nothing bad about having children. The only thing I wish I did is start earlier. It's the only thing. The only thing I wish I did was start
well, listen, right now, I don't know if you know, if you need some inspiration, there's this guy named Al Pacino.
I saw that.
Who had a kid at 82, and his girl was 29 years old, and De Niro had it at 79.
Wow. Well,
so it's never too late. You're
never
36. If you got the testosterone level of 32, I'm sure you can have 20 more kids.
I'll be okay.
Politics. Let's talk politics with America. You're seeing what's going on with the election.
Mm-hmm.
One of the vantage points you have is you're not there. It's kind of like it's your problem. You guys deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm over here on this side. From your perspective, YouTube comes out. Hey, all the election stuff you guys talked about, that we would ban it and take it down, you guys can talk about it now because we want a balanced argument from both sides. Okay, no problem. Who do you see? What are your thoughts on Trump today, 2024, DeSantis, Biden? How do you see this thing panning out?
Politics is so interesting. It's so messy. I mean, obviously, I'm a Trump supporter. I believe in Trump. I like DeSantis and the things he did. I'm not going to choose between Trump or DeSantis. I think if one of them won, if any of them won, it would be fantastic for the world. I think YouTube taking a back step is actually extremely important symbolically. It'd be interesting to see if they keep that up post this election, seeing what happens with this election. That'll be very interesting. But I think it's certainly a massive symbolic step back. I remember when I got canceled, nobody talked about Rumble, nobody talked about Kick, nobody talked about, even you got Valuetainment, no disrespect. You were a lot smaller then than you are now.
Of course.
It's crazy how fast alternatives have popped up. And I'm only saying this because I do feel like I literally said, I remember my exact words. I said, there's pressure behind the dam. Everyone's tired of it. All it takes is a crack. And when there's a crack, there'll be a flood. And the crack in the dam will be a man who is more famous once he's canceled than he was before he was canceled. That's what I said. Now they're trying to put me in jail, which is making me more famous again. I'm not saying it's all because of me, but I'm saying there's definitely a public consciousness switch where the arbitrators of truth are having to backstep now. They've overused their power. They overstepped their power exactly like we said they would. And now they're allowing open discourse. So I hope that America has a free and fair election. That's what I'm praying for. I think every country should have a free and fair election, especially when we're going to fly fighter jets and drop $500,000 bombs on farmers who've never made $5 in their day under the guise of democracy. If we're going to bother to do that, then we should at least have a democracy ourselves. So I think a free and fair election will be interesting. And I think the will of the people should be done. And that's how America was built and founded, and that's what I would like to see. And I do think that America does lead the public consciousness overall as a whole. I know what you're saying about me being over here, but I do think that which side wins does have an overreaching effect overall on the entire planet. America's still the most powerful country on earth. It'd be very interesting to see what happens in 2024, we'll put it that way.
Crazy question for you. He gets approached all the time. PBD, when you running? When you running, PBD? He goes, listen.
I'll vote for you, bro.
Yeah, he goes, listen. I was born in Iran, made in America. I can't run. Well, when are you gonna? Well, you were born in America, Andrew Tate.
I was, yeah.
You know, you were raised in Luton, UK. You lived in Romania, but you are an American citizen.
I have no idea.
Dream with me for a second.
I have no idea.
If you were president of the United States, Andrew Tate, what would that look like?
I have no idea what it'd be like to be president, but I have a feeling what Putin said about the presidents might be true. Did you ever see what Putin said?
Yes. 8 years, they come and go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen 3 presidents. I've seen a lot of presidents come and go, and they all come with these grand ideas. But once they get in office, the people with the briefcases and the dark suits come in and sit them down because of the strong bureaucracy inside of the United States and explain to them how things are done. And they never seem to get their ideas done. They never seem to do the things they said they were going to do.
Do you include Trump in that?
I think Trump tried his very best to resist that, and that's why he's in the situation he's in. That's why they're taking him to court for no reason. That's why he was Matrix attacked. I mean, if Trump, okay, let's cut the guard. I'm going back to jail anyway, probably with this Matrix stuff. They're going to try and kill me anyway. They probably are. If Trump's situation isn't a Matrix attack, what is? What did they just hit him with in New York? Some defamation for defending himself against a lie? If that's not a Matrix attack, tell me what is possibly else. Anyone who's sitting out here who actually truly believes that the Matrix doesn't exist has no idea how the world works. The media machine and the legal system work hand in hand to try and slander people's name and convince the populace enough that they're guilty so there's no revolt, so they can hit them with a guilty plea. They've already decided before all of it. It's all a plan. This many months of negative news, then we'll hit them with this, we'll get them guilty for this, and with this many months of negative news, the populace will probably swallow it. It's garbage. It's a Matrix attack from head to toe.
How much do you see yourself in Trump? And to use your words, first they try to cancel you, he was canceled.
Yeah.
Then they try to throw you in jail, he's dealing with lawsuits.
Yeah.
Lastly, they try to put a bullet in your head.
Well, Trump's lucky because he's a bit older. So Trump, they'll try and outlast him. They'll wait. My problem is I'm a bit young, you know? And I also think the reason I feel particularly at risk, and I say these things on podcasts to protect myself, and I don't want anyone to think I'm paranoid or crazy, because I really don't believe I am. The reason I think I'm particularly at risk is for the thing you just said. It's the masculine youth who are my fans. It's the 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. They are the future of the world. They're the people you want to go and die in a ditch. They're the soldiers you need. Those are the people you need psyoped. You need them psyoped. You can't have a bunch of men who aren't psyoped. Mm-hmm. That's when you lose control of everything, when the men don't listen anymore. And they're all listening to me. And I'm teaching them things like God, religion, personal responsibility, accountability, discipline. And everyone's saying, well, why are they attacking Andrew for just telling the truth and making me go to the gym? Because when you have these things, when you have accountability and discipline and personal responsibility, you have a barrier, you have a parameter, you have a no, you have a limit. They don't want you to have a limit. None of the men are allowed limits. We must accept whatever we are given from our relationship with our woman, from the government, from our job. We're just the slaves. We're the backbone of the tax bracket. We just have to shut up and pay our taxes. As soon as we have limits, they have a problem. That's why they dislike the things I teach. What do I really say? What do I really teach young kids that's genuine dangerous? What do I say? Go to the gym, stick up for yourself? Stick up for yourself, go to the gym, you're allowed an opinion. Educate yourself, be smart, work hard. Believe in things. Believe in yourself. Have friends. Have strong friends around you. Don't listen to dishonest men or dishonest women. It's not misogynistic to say dishonest people. Non-gendered should be anywhere near you. You should have standards for who's your friend. Standards for who you have relationships with romantically. Whether you're gay or straight, you should have standards. Telling men to have standards is now wrong think. Because as soon as men have standards, they lose control. They don't want any man to have any standard on anything. They want to come along and say, no, you need the 8th injection. Take it. That's all they want.
I think that's the saddest thing that's happened to you, is because anybody that listens to your long form content, not 60 seconds on TikTok, fully understands that you're an advocate for male self-improvement.
Absolutely.
Get out of depression, work your ass off, be coachable, make money, get women, enjoy the finer things in life. But they will take the little things you say and label you a misogynist, label you a chauvinist, and that's the tip of the iceberg of minor things you say when you really are a male advocate.
It's weaponized virtue. But also, you can't have an opinion on any kind of differences or differentiation without them now calling you a misogynist. If I believe a woman is better at raising young children than a man, I would never drop my child off to a nursery run by men. I think that would be weird. I would never take my 2 or 3-year-old girl and drop her off in a nursery which was male run. I would only bring her to a nursery which is female.
Nor would you hire a babysitter that's a boy.
Neither. Never. Do I hate men? No. Like, I just believe that in war a man should go, and raising children, maybe perhaps women should go. I just believe in the same things that everybody believed in 10 years ago. Yeah. The world has gone nuts. 10 years ago, everything I'm saying was standardized and accepted and normal. And they're taking this misogynist garbage and weaponizing the virtue and trying to attack me with it, and they don't even believe in it. It's truly upsetting, but I just can't be quiet because I don't know how. I couldn't live as anyone else other than me. I couldn't live as a man who wasn't trying to be his best self.
Let's stay on this. So you said president, then you brought in Putin.
Yeah.
So then that discourages for somebody to think they can make real change. Okay. Yeah. So 2 questions. One, if you are the president today, I'm sure you've thought about it.
Yeah.
What policies would you attack? Right now in America, I watched RFK. I don't know if you listened to the recording yesterday.
I've heard. Yeah.
What he said about the angle he would take with pharma, he says, all these things we're talking about guns. He says, how is it that we have the same amount of guns as Switzerland does per capita, but Switzerland hasn't had a school shooting in 21 years. We had it 21 hours ago, and we just had one last night, by the way, big one. I don't know, in Virginia, I want to say, right?
7 people shot.
Yeah, 7 people shot just yesterday, right?
Every day there's something.
Every day. You're talking about fentanyl. You're talking about the drugs. You're talking about LGBTQ. You're talking about military-industrial complex, economy, taxes. What would be top 3 issues you would attack if you were president today?
And that's so interesting because before I answer that question, that ties back into what we were saying earlier about men's mental health. They pretend they give a shit about men's mental health. But if you come along and actually advocate and tell men how to be happier, I've been a sad man and a happy man. I am a man. I know exactly how it feels on all ranges of emotion. And I'll be honest with you right now, when a man is sad, yeah, there is an inclination towards aggression. That's how we're born, that's how we're evolved. We're evolved with that inclination towards aggression. We need that to protect and provide. That's who we are. We need that bravery. But having a bunch of depressed, sad men who have no emotional control is dangerous for society. I say this all the time. They try and pretend that I'm somehow dangerous for society by telling men to stand up for themselves and be masculine. Absolutely not, really not. When you tell a man to have no emotional control and be more feminine, that's a school shooter. A school shooter is not a man with masculine accountability. He's a man who's told, act how you feel all the time. Then he gets picked on for long enough. Throw on some drugs on top his psychiatrist gave him, throw in a lack of a girlfriend, and he's had enough. That's where school shooting comes from. School shooting does not come from men being masculine. It comes from the absolute opposite of these things, and they know this. They know this very, very well. To fix society, we have to fix it at the most base level, the root level. I think America and most countries need more transparency and understanding of how things work. But when they're attacking the family unit, they're attacking all of these issues. Every issue you've just labeled all starts back down to the beginning. I really think the reason I would like to argue, and I don't know any of the statistics on this, in the 1950s, I'm sure there was prevalence of guns all around America, but there just wasn't the school shooting. Why? What was different? What was different in the years before that there is now? I think it's just because children obeyed their parents, and their parents were a family, and there was a degree of responsibility that was instilled inside of people, and there's a degree of accountability, and there was a degree of honor and pride.
Great question.
There's a degree of honor and pride.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something now. I bet in the 60s, 70s, whatever, in any country in the world, people didn't want to do dumb shit because the family would be known as criminals. The last name would be tarnished. Their son did this. You hear what their son did? There was a vested interest in all of it. Now you have a school shooter who's going to go out there, be a piece of shit and kill people, and then their parents are on TV, well, yeah, he was failed by the system. They don't even feel any shame. It's unbelievable. If one of my children or someone close to me did something that heinous, I would be disgusted. I would apologize just for the name alone. There's no honor left. There's no pride left in the name. And this is what happens when you remove honor and pride from people. If you have no honor and no pride, nothing really matters. What matters anyway? It doesn't matter if you're out of shape. It doesn't matter if your kid's a piece of shit and a criminal. Nothing matters without honor and pride. And this is done on absolutely every level. I said this to Tristan the other day. I was actually saying we were driving, well, the other day, long time ago. I haven't left the house in a while. We were driving and I said, even on the most base level, I said, every building is ugly. Have you noticed that every new building is ugly? It's ugly. Tristan goes, yeah, it's all the same glass, big square, ugly building. In the 1400s, we built these ornate, gorgeous buildings. And now everything's ugly. Why is that? And well, I'll tell you why it is. It's because they don't want you to have any intrinsic attachment to a specific place. If all the buildings are beautiful in a specific town, you have intrinsic attachment to that town. You care about that town. You want good things for that town. You'll protect that town. You'll defend that town. What is that? That's a barrier. That's a parameter. If everything looks the same all the time, you'll just move. Who cares? Oh, they've messed up San Fran. Who cares? I'll just move somewhere else. Let's move somewhere else. It's all the same. Globalism doesn't matter. It's all the same. Buildings in Berlin and New York, they all look the same. Where's all the beauty gone? When there's beauty, you have an attachment to that beauty. They want to remove all your attachments from everything. Even now, when they try and psyop you into, let's say, the way that models all look different than they used to before, right? Models all look different.
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, and I was arguing this point, and someone's saying, oh, but that's because you have Eurocentric beauty standards. I said, no. I'm going to correct you, because I know you think you sound smart using the word Eurocentric, and I'm going to correct you because you're a dumbass. Let me tell you what beauty standards are. Beauty standards, by definition, for something to be beautiful, has to at least be unique. If everything is beautiful, then it's not beautiful. If everything's beautiful, then it's standardized. For you to take a model who looks the way they look without any effort at all, and they look like most out of shape, uninteresting people on the street, you cannot call that beautiful because it's standardized, you can see it everywhere. Beauty means it must have been difficult to obtain. Whether it's a building, it's difficult to make because it's ornate, or a woman who's trained really hard to have a beautiful figure, that is difficult. Difficulty and beauty are linked. You can't have beauty without difficulty. You cannot show me another model and tell me that my Eurocentric beauty standards are saying she isn't hot, because that's not why. She isn't hot because she's made no effort. She hasn't tried. That's why. And they're doing this with everything. Everything is ugly. Nothing has a standard. Nobody has to try for anything. No parameter. No baseline belief of what's true and what's false. Everything's subjective. Your truth. No, there's the truth. There's no such thing as your truth. And this is an attack on every single level. They're assaulting us from everywhere. Even the buildings they build are assaulting you, so you can't even just drive through a town and go, wow, look how much energy has been put into this place. I love this place. I will not allow them to do it to this place. Now it's just like, we can move there. Let's move there. It's all the same anyway. It's all a Starbucks on the corner and a 7-Eleven. Who cares? It's all the same. Why fight? Why fight for any of it? It's all done purposefully. I'm telling you, call me a conspiracy theorist, call me crazy. I don't understand why an architect would now decide, who hires an architect? I'm going to build a building. Let me hire an architect to come up with the same sketch of the same bullshit building, which is already existing everywhere. How much did I pay him? Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to build a skyscraper made of grass that looks like every other one. Is that it? We did all this 600 years ago. We built cathedrals and now we build this crap? Why? Everything is on purpose. It's all a psyop. It's all a psyop. When they put these models on there, the psyop is you don't have to try. You don't have to try at anything. Don't try. Doesn't matter. Just don't try. Wait for the government. We'll give you some food stamps. You'll be okay. It's
participation trophies.
It's slavery. It's slavery. When you need to do every single thing they say to eat, that's their end goal. That's what they want. It's slavery. They don't want you trying anything. Even going to the gym today is an act of rebellion. Even being in good physical condition is an act of rebellion. If I put up a photo of me and I'm in good physical shape, there are people who write underneath it, oh, you're dumb, you train so They insult you for it. Like, you're a bad person because you have standards for yourself. That's the level of bug man they want to get you to. Of course, these people will give up meat and eat the bugs and live in the pod. Of course they will. They have no standards. They have no self-respect, no standards. Of course they can live in an ugly building, a big, ugly matrix pod. That's all they want.
Is it somebody has to sell you on that? Or is it going back to conditioning? Or what would it be? Is it someone selling you or is it conditioning?
And it goes back to my original point about the family. I do believe that the reason we didn't have so many problems before is because I believe the families had standards. And some cultures still do. I have friends who are Chinese. My dad, I cannot not get an A. That's just their culture. When my dad was still alive and he was teaching chess, my dad would charge $400 or $500 an hour for chess lessons. And towards the end of his life, he goes, all of my students are Chinese or Indian. Nobody else wants to spend money, $500 an hour to teach their kids chess. Only the Chinese and Indians will spend that money to make sure their kid is that good. So that's it. They're the ones who invest the most in their children. They still care on that level. But most families don't wake up and go, I want my children to act a certain way for the legacy, for the family name as a whole. I'm instilling standards upon them because of the last name. My entire life I've had standards instilled upon me. My entire life. Your last name's Tate, you can't do that. Your last name's Tate, you're not allowed to do that. Your last name's Tate, hit him back. I've been like that my whole life. And now we've removed all standards from everybody. This is why you get school shooters. These school shooters should be too embarrassed to even embarrass their fathers. They should wake up and go, I would never do this to my family. And I'll also, this is definitely going to get me canceled, but I'm going to say it because it's true. I'll say it by extension for suicide. I don't care what you do to me. I'm Andrew Tate. I cannot kill myself. I can't. I'm not allowed. It's against the creed of my last name. I didn't have ancestors who suffered how they suffered, who went through what they went through for me to be born to kill myself. That's not the end of my story. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. No matter how bad it gets or what bad situation I'm in, I refuse to do it because I have too much respect for my last name. I won't do it. And I think that a lot of things, a lot of men's mental health, a lot of crises can actually just come back to the old adages of honor. And you can fix a lot of it. Your girl left you, you miss her. I get it. We've all been heartbroken. She's with a new guy. You're upset. She doesn't care. You care. I get all of it. But there has to be a point where you get to a level of pride and you just go, that's not who I am. I lost her. That's life. You just got to get on with it. And the best way is to where do you find the strength when you're in these difficult situations? I always find the strength from my last name. I'm Andrew Tate. I'm Andrew Tate, so I just have to do it. I'm in a Romanian jail cell. I wake up, there's cockroaches in my bed. They're all over my face. What am I going to do, cry? Am I bitch out? Am I going to go and sign a piece of paper and say I'm guilty? I'm going to sell my brother out? Is that what I'm going to do? Am I going to go fucking lie and put these and sell the girls out like they want me to? Am I going to stand up and say I'm sorry for saying go to the gym like a pussy? No, I'm going to take the cockroaches off my mouth. I'm going to do some push-ups because I'm Andrew Tate. When shit really gets hard, honor and courage and bravery and your last name is all you've ever had. It's all you're going to have. And it used to be like that in the olden days. That's why no one did this dumb shit. They were just too embarrassed to even do it. And this is why you're saying, how do we fix the country? Absolutely, all of it comes down to the fact that, especially with men, none of them are bestowed with the things that the masculine essence needs to be a good man. You need pride, you need honor, you need a healthy level of ego, you need all of these things. We're taking it all from boys, and what are we giving them instead? Video games, porn, weed, and what do you expect?